Well, welcome to day 36 and week 6 of Mastering Astral Projection. This is a big day because we're starting a new week, and it's also the last week of the first section of this training. So there's a lot to go over today. I'm going to start with the walkthrough. So this is about preparing yourself for an OBE and taking the steps in real life that you would take if you had the out-of-body experience for the first time. So what we're going to do is walk through what this might look like. So this is going to be a little different depending on whether you're laying down or sitting up. For some of the exercises that will be happening this week. So I'll go through each of those. In this example, I'm just going to assume that you're sitting up. Okay. So what it might look like is in the room where you're actually doing your astral projection preparation work, you're going to pick two separate objects. And those will be objects that when you are having the astral projection experience, you will walk over to each of those objects one at a time, creating a triangle between them and your physical body. And the experience of movement during an astral projection is kind of like roller skating, so your body is going to float. So in this real-life example, you are narrating the entire time everything that you're doing. So you feel your projected body double and consciousness separating from your physical body. And you say something to the effect of, "I am having an out-of-body experience." And then you would say something like, "I'm going to go to the first object." And then as you're traveling to that first object, "I am traveling to the first object." And you're narrating this. And then you make it to the first object and you state, "I am at the first object." And you could give it a name depending on what it is. If it's a picture or a vase or, whatever that is stationary in your room. Then you bring your focus to the second object and you state, "I am moving toward the second object." And this is something you're doing with your will, and imagine that you're floating toward that second object in the way that you would if you were having an astral out-of-body experience. You make it to the second object and you state, "I am at the second object," or something of that nature, like "I'm at the vase." You can see yourself touching it, however that feels right for you. And then you'll bring your focus back to your physical body and you'll state something to the effect of, "I am moving toward my physical body." Now, one of the key elements is making a statement that you're going to remember this experience, and you try to well up the most amount of excitement that you possibly can about having your first astral body, out-of-body experience, and you state to yourself, "I am going to remember this experience," and you get yourself really excited about it, and then you aim your consciousness toward your chest of your physical body, and you will yourself back into the physical body by saying something like, "I am returning to my physical body," and you point, aim, and move into it. And this will be the preliminary physical experience of what you're going to repeat when you have your first out-of-body experience. Robert suggests not having that experience be, he suggests 10 seconds. 10 seconds is the perfect amount of time that you'll be able to come back into the body and remember the experience. And that's really what you're after, is doing everything you can to remember the experience. One of the things he also suggests is doing this in the daylight, because according to him, when you move out of the body for the first time and it's dark, it can be incredibly ominous. And you don't want any fear or trepidation to get in the way of having your first experience. So, if at all possible, do this in the daylight. If you can't do it in the daylight, try to do it in a room with the lights on, and that will help to achieve everything that you want to achieve for that first out-of-body experience. See if there's anything else I want to talk about. Oh, he also talks about another critical element is maintaining calmness. You don't know if you're going to have a premature out-of-body experience before we actually get to week 7. So if you do, the key element is to maintain calm. So the physical body is going to go through a number of energetic changes, such as rushes of sensation like electricity or hot water or cold water or tingling. Another thing that you might experience is rapid heart rate. Now, it's not actually your heart that's doing this, so don't worry. Maintain calm. It is just the energy center of the heart going through the separation process. There's nothing to fear. So if you also end up in the astral realm instead of your real-time energy realm, then you can just will yourself to move back toward your body when you're done by saying, "Take me back to my body." So remember that you can control the experience by willing yourself and telling yourself particular statements. Okay, that's all I'm going to go through right now. There's more, but we'll go through the rest of everything as the week progresses. Oh, I should also tell you now, the affirmations for this week. Morning is, I am present in the moment. I draw my energy back to me from wherever and whenever it is. I release other people's energy that has accumulated in my space, recognizing the healing in letting go. The evening affirmation is, I become conscious and lucid during my natural nightly projections. I awake full conscious in my projectable double. I follow my OBE plan, keeping it short in an effort to remember. I should probably put these affirmations in the video comments or in the description. I might do that. I'm not sure. There might be a copyright issue around that, so anyway, write those down. We're moving to Brainwave Generator Week 6 Energy Body Loosening and lucid dreaming. You could do lucid dreaming for 15-20 minutes at night before bed. We're going to be doing the relaxation entire body of 5 minutes, breath work, pacing the breath for 5 minutes. Pacing the breath, so we're moving away from the count to 12. What we're doing is finding a breath length that is comfortable for you. I was doing 8. That was comfortable for me. So basically, count to 8 on the inhale, take a brief pause, count to 8 on the exhale, brief pause, and continue that cycle for 5 minutes. Like I said, you can choose any number. You probably want to start with what's most relaxing and then move to longer numbers as the week progresses. Then we're doing energy body pre-stimulation for 5 minutes. Now, this week, the 5 minutes of full body circuit is optional. And the primary energy stimulation for 15 minutes is also optional. I am basically doing those. I did full body circuit for a couple of minutes, and then I did primary center stimulation for a little while. But I've got the primary center stimulation, with the motorized beater or mixer. I can do it in 5 minutes. I can get all those centers going. So I like doing that. So I'm continuing with that. Next is the trance with third eye trigger for 15 minutes. Now, these are yogic eye exercises to first stretch your eyes out a little bit. It basically goes like this. Look up with your eyes closed. Look up into your head. as high up as you can go for 2 cycles of breath. Then look down for 2 cycles of breath. Then look left for 2 cycles of breath. Then look right for 2 cycles of breath. Then repeat 2 more times the entire process. When you're done with that, circle your eyes in a clockwise rotation for 1 full breath cycle. Then circle your eyes counterclockwise rotation for an entire breath cycle, and repeat that 2 more times. And this is to train your eyes to look up into here. Ultimately, you could just use your finger, point right there, and then stare up into that center, leaving the mind clear. Look up into that center and breathe into it. I like to imagine there's a breath moving in and out of it. It really helps to maintain focus without the mind wandering. And you'll do this for 15 minutes, or as long as you can do that comfortably. And then, as if that wasn't enough, you're doing body loosening. This is the bounce loosening for 15 minutes. So get a picture in your mind's eye of exactly above you and exactly below you. What's going on up there? Is there something on the ceiling? Is there something on the floor? Imagine all the things that are in those areas, and then you're going to imagine your consciousness moving up out of the body, up to the ceiling, and you could literally imagine that you're getting closer and closer to it until you're right up on top of it, and then move your consciousness down to the floor. And again, if you're moving through objects, imagine yourself moving through the objects all the way down to the floor, and just repeat this cycle, bouncing back and forth from ceiling to floor. Then you're going to do the same thing forward and backward. So imagine that your consciousness is moving forward from your body, going through any objects until it reaches the wall or window, whichever it is, and then you turn around, and then you go project your consciousness toward your body, through your body, beyond your body, to whatever is behind you, until you reach the wall or door or window or whatever it is, and then you move this back and forth for 15 minutes. I liked, there was something that Brian was talking about. He said that the first time he did the exercise of doing this mock out-of-body experience and going to the objects in the room, he said he felt a little silly, but he said, he really got into it, and it really helped. So allow yourself to really go through the process as if it were happening. What would it be like? The floating, the narration, the excitement. The more that, and you're going to do this once a day. Every day we're going to be going through this process to really get that process down, to facilitate the actual experience and what it's going to be like and how much control you'll have over it. So my dreams last night were very interesting. I was actually going to church today to a sermon, and in my dream I was the person, or I was with the person that was giving the sermon, and she was incredibly anxious, and I tossed and turned all night going in and out of this dream about the process of her preparing, not feeling like she had everything down correctly, concerned whether it was going to be good enough. And then there was, the pastor actually had this meter that went from turquoise to dark blue. If you were in turquoise, you had a lot more development to do, and if you got to dark blue, you were fully mature in your development. And the person that was giving the sermon, Anne, was still in the turquoise, and she was very stressed out about this, and she really wanted to mature and get this right. And so I was feeling her anxiety all night long. Then I had another dream. I was with this ex-coworker, Nate, and I was in rush hour traffic coming home from work, and we were going through this big city, and we were like on these roller skate type of objects, traveling at high speed, moving in and out of cars, seemed incredibly dangerous. Anyway, this person was always in front of me, and I was like, who is this person always in front of me? And then I realized it was Nate, who I hadn't seen in a really long time. And I went up behind him and I grabbed him and I was like, hey, Nate. He was like, hey. So we stopped and we started talking. We were at some sort of park or something, and we were talking about what he was doing for a living, and he was some big wig in this big corporation, and he was telling me he had his own private jet, and but he was really stressed out and kind of unhappy and not totally thrilled with the job, and I was telling him, yeah, I'm not making any money. I'm just kind of just barely making it. And he's kind of looking at me like, that doesn't make sense to me. You're really smart. You should be making a lot of money. And I was like, well, yeah, I just got out of the business, I guess. So, and then somebody came up behind him, some really big guy, and he was looking at me kind of with this fearful look, and he started signing particular letters from the ASL alphabet in front of me, trying to give me a message. And I was like, oh God, I don't remember my letters. And I'm trying to look at him and figure out what he's trying to tell me, and I couldn't figure it out. And then I remember Kirby and Chiclet were there. And then everything got dark, and I think the dream ended. So anyway, it was a long post for today. Hope you hang in there. Thanks a lot.